What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD mode video. So today we are going to be talking about the Season 7 test server balance changes, which will be making its way into the official release of Season 7 when the official update comes out. So this stuff is actually pretty interesting. There's a lot of speed changes for various weapons, as well as different changes to perks, as well as, operator skills and even classes for BR. So really quickly, we're going to start off with just the operator skills, perks, and the classes first. I rather just get this out of the way really quickly. So first off, the equalizer, the ammo capacity increased from 160 rounds to 200. So that's a pretty decent amount, especially since they got recently buffed with damage. And the Guardian, the damage increased from 20 damage per second to 30 damage per second. So it's going to kill you a lot faster. And also for the sticky grenade, we also have detonation time after being thrown is reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So it's going to explode a lot faster, giving the enemy much less time to get away from it. The EMP grenade also got a buff with the effective range increased from 8 meters to 9 meters, so now it's going to have a bigger radius to disable any electronic score streaks such as sentry guns or just other stuff in general a lot easier. And it also decreased the maximum effective time to self-destruct from 2 seconds to 1 second, so it's going to explode a lot quicker. Also, for the Dauntless perk, it improved burning damage reduction from 30% to 40%, making it a lot more useful now, even though it's already been useful, but yeah. The unit support perk improved scoring ratio, increased teammate shared operator skill charge from 30% to 40%, decreased personal operator skill charge from 60% to 50%, making this basically a lot easier for your teammates as well as yourself to earn your operator skills faster. So now we have a change to a perk that I really haven't seen be used a lot, if not ever, which is the tracker perk. Tracking time increased from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. So basically, the little red footprint that's there with the tracker perk is going to be there a little bit further, so they could, I guess the enemy could have a little bit more time to, I guess, look for you, if that makes any sense. For Agile perk, the sprint to fire reduction increased from 10% to 15%. So that's something that I have had a problem with in the past, and it's the fact that Agile perk was never really specific on how much sprint to fire time was reduced until now. So I think they should actually keep that number in the description of the perk so everyone can know by how much it actually increases your sprint to fire reduction. So now for the BR changes, the Scout class teammates can now see friendly sensor dart radius on the minimap correctly. Now teammates can see red dots on the minimap and enemy silhouette, as well as for the Clown class, decreased charge speed from 40-40 to 40-45, so it might be a little slower to unlock this time around. So now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's actually talk about the major changes. So for the first two changes, I want to address this really quickly. I did mention this in the previous video where I talked about bullet impact, but yes, it gives you kind of like a description that the LMGs and the snipers are going to have a bullet impact of 2 and 3 respectively. And this might mean that these are going to be one of the more stronger weapons to watch out for if you are looking to not flinch at all. So yeah, the LMG snipers obviously are going to be the most powerful, I guess the most effective when it comes to making your enemies flinch. So now we move on to the SVD. So it's a nerf all around. So they decreased the lower arm damage multiplier from 1.4 times to 1.3 times. They also decreased the damage from 80, 70 to 78, 75, 70. So now it has 3 different ranges. And the range decreased from 30 meters to 15 to 30 in correction with the new damage phase. So basically just a massive nerf overall. And it might not be too effective in the first few, like the first 2 ranges, but definitely effective at longer range. The main reason why I don't have a lot of, I guess, enthusiasm over this nerf is because, I mean, they're just going to move to the XPR. So even if they nerf this, I mean, there are plenty of other spam weapons out there. So now we move on to Type 25, and the only change is that they improved the overall reload speed by 13%. So they're kind of undoing all of the reload nerfs that it had in the past, back when the Type 25 was at its absolute best in the recent seasons. And yeah, they're going to pretty much put it back to almost where it was back then. So that's something that we're going to see from here on out in these patch notes. So now we have the M4 underbarrel grenade launcher attachment rework. Sorry, it's so hard to put R's and W's together like that. So switching to under barrel grenade launcher now has a switch time. So now you could actually manually, I guess, switch with a certain button. And I think also this is pretty effective, even if you're using controller. I did test this in the test server, and I think you just have to hold down on the bottom D-pad in order to actually activate it. And also they increased the ammo by one, so now it has two, grenades instead of just one that you could shoot out. I'm not sure if shrapnel actually increases it again, so you might actually have three, but again, I'm not too sure about that. So here's another reload speed buff for the BK57, increase the reload speed by 13%. So if it wasn't already fast enough with the fast reload, it's going to be even faster now with that buff. It's kind of like just adding sleight of hand automatically built into it. So I don't see the need for it, but I guess whatever incentivizes people to use the weapon more, I guess that's fine. But yeah, I just don't really see this as like necessary. So surprise, surprise, we have another improved reload speed buff for the DRH. So it's by 9.5% this time around. So I don't see why they needed to do that, but I guess, the DRH's reload speeds was something that I don't really think a lot of people actually complained about, but I guess. So the KN-44 got decreased hit flinch from 0.65 to 0.55. I'm assuming they probably did this to balance it out for the upcoming bullet impact changes for Season 7. So as for the ASM-10, it received a tactical reload speed increase by 7%, so I'm assuming that means empty reload. And also for the Branson barrel, they did undo the nerf that they did with the lead damage multiplier for that barrel specifically, and they put it back to 1 times. So now we have some changes to the GKS. They decreased the aim shake, which is an issue that a lot of people were having with the GKS itself. Specifically, even for me, with that the coin slot legendary, the Mystic cards, it does have a lot of aim shake, so I'm glad that they're finally removing that. And they also improved the reload speed by 7%, improved the range profile from 9 meters to 9.5 meters. So I'm assuming that's within the first range, I'm assuming. So yes, it's going to have slightly more range, but not that much. So we got a really needed change for the QXR. The monolithic suppressor range improved from 12% to 18%, and the marksman barrel ADS time penalty decreased from 15% to 8%. So I believe this actually might be the lightest marksman barrel that we've ever had in this game as of right now. And it's something that the QXR needed because I know this is probably going to be some weird controversial take, but I think the QXR right now, given that like the state of all the other SMGs, it might actually be the heaviest SMG that we have right now. So anything to at least help alleviate any ADS issues, it's very welcoming to me. But to tell you the truth, with the QXR, given that it's extremely slow, I think they should have probably increased the ADS time on just the weapon itself rather than just change it for the marksman barrel, because I don't know if even reducing it by that much is going to change anything, because again, this thing is just like I think the RPD is faster than this thing. I've used it like a few days ago and it just sucks. So now we have a change for the kilo bolt action. They decreased the ADS time once more from 360 milliseconds to 330 milliseconds, making it a lot more faster. Thankfully, since the kilo bolt action is still one of the slower marksman rifles in this game. So a weird change for the J358, they decreased the vertical recoil by 30%, which, why? Because like it already doesn't jump around. So this might have something to do with the flinch thing, because they did say that it was going to go with recoil now or something like that. I kind of forgot, but maybe that's why they increased it that much for the control. So yes. So now for the HS2126, they improved the reload speed by 33%, and this was mainly done because it's getting a brand new reload animation, and they probably had to increase the reload speed to kind of like fit the animation, or else it would probably look weird. So for the final change, we have another reload speed buff for the M13, which increases the reload speed by 11%. So yes, I don't know how much faster they're going to make this gun in terms of reload speed. I feel like this is like probably the 6th or maybe the 5th reload speed buff that we've gotten for the M13 throughout this game's history. So yeah, I don't know how much faster they want this weapon to be, but yeah, anyways, that's pretty much all the patch notes for Season 7. So to basically sum up these patch notes, they're not the worst, but at the same time, they're not the best in the world. These are kind of like mid changes, but I think maybe the most notable one is probably the QXR. Bringing the range stuff back to like the monolithic suppressor and just making the marksman barrels like a lot faster. I mean, those are very welcoming changes, but again, I mean, the range for the QXR was okay, and the only issue was just the mobility. I think like the ADS time specifically is extremely slow. I mean, there's LMGs that are faster than that thing. So I feel like they could have worked on just increasing the ADS time for the gun itself rather than just lowering ADS penalties on attachments for the gun. But again, I mean, changes like that, I mean, I'll be more than happy to try out the weapon, but I don't really think it's going to make too much of a difference. If anything, yes, it might incentivize people to stack monolithic and maybe the marks and barrel together since they're both really light now. Kind of like to bring back the old QXR meta back in the day, even though it was only for like a few weeks. But again, I mean, I don't know if it's really going to make too much of a difference. And one last note to, finish off this video. I mean, with the reload speed buffs with all these weapons, I mean, most of them did not need the buff in the first place. I mean, the DRH was fine, the M13 was beyond fine, and even the BK57 was fine. So I don't understand why they're making all these different reload changes for these guns that don't really need it. I think if anything, the only one that probably needed it the most, I would say, is maybe the ASM-10 and the Type 25, but the BK57 and the M13 was just, I don't understand why they needed to do that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't really think it's going to make too much of a problem. If anything, the biggest concern for Season 7 is obviously the bullet impact and how that's going to change the weapon meta as it is right now. So yeah, I mean, like these changes, they're all right. That's all I have to really say about it. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure to subscribe for some more COD mobile content. And I'll see you guys next time.